Good morning. Welcome back to the Retirement Report. I'm Hank Parrott, your host. All right, I want to not leave that hanging with regard to strategies that you can utilize. So when it comes to your estate planning, for instance, and how you do your beneficiary designations, this is so important because this can set up some real problems for you if not done correctly. One, keeping those beneficiary designations up to date. So if you haven't looked at them in a while on your retirement accounts, your 401ks, IRAs, please make sure you do. If you've got non-qualified accounts, do you have a will? Do you have a trust? Do you have, some designation that shows where that's going? If you're looking at brokerage firms or in bank accounts, those kind of things, you can do a lot of times what are called TODs or PODs, which are basically transfer on death or payable on death, where it's kind of like setting up a beneficiary on accounts that don't traditionally have beneficiary designations. All of this needs to be balanced out and understanding, one, keeping them up to date. There's horror stories out there actually where someone didn't have that done and the monies went to an ex-spouse or something instead of to the family. Okay, there are other areas that this can be really problematic, or where they left it blank, they didn't put in, or they put to the estate of. All of these can set up some tax horror stories as far as extra tax being paid that doesn't need to be paid. Retirement accounts in particular, if it's not done correctly, you can end up with having to pay those out over a 5-year period. So imagine you got $1 million in your retirement accounts and your beneficiary is going to have to take that in over 5 years maximum. That's going to increase it. That's going to boost up that taxable income. All of a sudden, it's going to boost them into higher brackets. More tax are going to be paid than would have had to been paid otherwise. You've just made the IRS one of your biggest beneficiaries. So getting these beneficiary designation piece down is so important. Another part, if you do have some estate planning done, you still have to keep these up to date, right? Just having a will, for instance, you're going to go through probate, if it can still end up being that 5-year rule coming into play. If you've got a trust, understand again, you've still got to do the beneficiary designations to make sure that that's going to work. And this goes into, I'm giving you an example again. I had earlier this year, in fact, an unusual circumstance where I had a client in a different state that when he passed away earlier in the year, and we didn't get notified right away, and from the family. And then we get I think it was about 5 weeks after he passed that his wife passed. So again, very unusual to pass that quickly, that close together. And again, so it wasn't a few weeks later that we were notified by the family, understandably, right, with what's going on, that they didn't think that I need to do this right away, right? They're dealing with a lot of other things. So what happened here is that the beneficiary designation piece, now normally, okay, and here's how this can work both for you and against you. All right, normally, for instance, you would have, what you typically see is that with retirement accounts, you name your spouse as your primary, and then depending on your estate planning documents, you may name either your trust or your children as your contingents. All right, traditional kind of situation. Now, of course, obviously, a lot of exceptions to this we get into, or maybe you don't have children, or whatever. We get into those too, of course. But on this situation, okay, if in his accounts he's got his wife as his primary beneficiary, what's the problem here? Is that now she survived him, okay, but then passed prior to doing anything different. So now these accounts are going to pay to her estate. And that means that 5-year rule comes into play again. So what we want to do in this situation with a trust is we want to make the trust as the primary beneficiary. That way with the trust, it doesn't matter if she passed, that's okay. The trust is going to direct it then from her down to the children. And so you're still going to be able to get that, preserve that stretch IRA benefit, and thus minimize taxes in the process. Okay, so this is real important in getting this done correctly. That's just one example. There are others, but that's where, and there's other planning strategies you can utilize, such as disclaimers, but understanding how these work, looking at your specific situation to determine what's the best plan for you, that's where it comes into play. If you need some help with that, give you another opportunity. All right, for the first 10 callers to my office, 615-376-5325, we can help you with that. In fact, Russ Cook's on my show all the time. Russ is a board-certified estate planning attorney. I've been working with Russ for, gosh, I think it's 15 plus years now with our clients, and we've had many clients that have passed over that time frame. And I've got to see how well those documents work for them when it came to where the rubber met the road, and we actually had to then utilize that, the documents for, after they had passed and taken care of the family, and they did exactly as we wanted them and what they wanted to have happen. So they got the protections they were looking for. So if you'd like, to again get not just the comprehensive financial planning, but included in that, if you need help with taxes, I can bring in tax experts like Dr. Friday, an enrolled agent with the IRS, who can help with minimizing, helping set up your tax plan, Roth conversion plans, such like, those kind of strategies. In addition, I can bring Russ in to meet with you. If you go to see Russ individually, he's going to charge you $400 for a consultation. That's his normal fee. He gives a special to my viewers to come in my office to see. We'll set that up, and he will waive that consultation fee to meet with you. So again, if if it's estate planning, we do it all, all of this. The comprehensive planning deals into tax planning, estate planning, investment planning, of course income planning is a big part of that. All of that is a part of the plan. If you'd like to get this comprehensive financial plan done at no charge, call my office, 615-376-5325. Tessa's standing by. She'll get your information. She'll send you out a checklist of things to bring to your appointment with me. And if this takes, it may take more than one appointment to do this planning up for you, and that's okay. We're not going to charge you for that. I want you to see the value of it. I want to bring you something of value, and if it works out and we like each other and we see some value to be had there, maybe we'll continue that relationship and you'll become a client. But in either case, no obligation. I want you to have something that you can really utilize. So 615-376-5325, first 10 callers, all right, to get this comprehensive planning. And when you come in to see me, I'll give you a free copy of my book, 7 Steps to Financial Freedom in Retirement, which covers all these different planning aspects that we're talking about, and all the different clients I've worked with over the years. I share some of the different strategies there that we've, proven strategies that we've used with them. All right, we're going to jump back in here. Qualified account basics, understanding how these work for you. Okay, so when you're talking about, for instance, traditional IRAs versus Roth IRAs, or your traditional 401ks, these are monies that basically grow tax deferred. So when you put the money in, right, you're able to reduce your taxable income that year because you don't have to count that money. Then when you take it out, of course, the money is going to, it's been growing tax deferred, because while it's growing, you're not paying any tax on it either. So when you take it out, of course, now it's going to be taxable. So the contributions, typically you're not going to be, these are, again, reducing your taxable income. Roth would be a different animal, and we'll talk about that. They grow tax deferred while in, and then they're going to be taxed at ordinary income tax rates when you take those money out. 401k accounts. This works basically the same way. So it's not just traditional IRAs, but also the same thing. And what's one of the benefits with 401k accounts is that you can put even more money in. All right. For instance, you can now put up a $19,000 if you're over age 50. Excuse me. You can put up to another $6,000 or $25,000 total into your 401k. Now this is the same whether it's a 401k, 403b, 457, thrift savings plan, your TSP, same thing. So if you're under 50, you can put $19,000 in for this year. Plus, if you're over 50, you get a catch-up additional contribution of $6,000. So it's a total of $25,000. And for a couple, right, both working, yeah, that's $25,000 each. That can really greatly help you with regard to your taxes. Now, when we get into how much you should put in, that's a very individualized thing at that point. These accounts, again, will grow tax deferred, and when you take the money out, it's going to be taxed at ordinary income tax rates. Understanding, again, what I talked about as far as you take the money out prior to, 59.5 as far as IRAs, 10% tax penalty. If you don't take your required minimum distributions, in other words, the IRS says you have to start taking money out at age 70.5, right? And if you don't take out the right amount, then you would have a 50% 8% penalty. So obviously these are important rules to understand. And if it's in a 401k or retirement account and you've retired early, then you could access those funds earlier as well at age 55. All right, let's take another look. So let's skip ahead a couple of slides to traditional IRAs. So for 2019, the limit on your annual contributions has been increased to $6,000. Your contributions, again, a catch-up contribution is still at $1,000, so total is $7,000 per person per year with regard to contributions to your IRA. And again, if you're continuing to work in retirement, all right, understanding too, some people work past 70. I have a number of people that do that because they like it, not because they have to, but because they enjoy it. I'll be one of those. I mean, one of the things some of my heroes, if you will, when it comes to the financial field are people like a Warren Buffett and his partner Charlie Munger. Warren's in his, I think, mid-80s and Charlie's over 90. Jack Bogle, before he passed last year, is up in his, I think he was 86 or 7, I think at least, founder of Vanguard Funds. These guys go into their office every day. They're working, and there's a lot of others like them. Carl Icahn, you can go on. And they do it because they enjoy it, because they like contributing, because they like all the other benefits of it. For whatever reason, they don't, they're not going to do the rocking chair thing, and that's theirs. So if your point I'm making with this is if you're working past 70, you can still contribute to your retirement accounts. All right, now once you start, as far as the 401k and that, once you start taking your required minimum distributions, however, you can no longer contribute to an IRA. You can, though, contribute to a Roth IRA still. So understanding how all these rules work are so important. All right, we're going to take another break. When we come back, I want to talk to you a little bit more about required minimum distributions and how that works and how to plan for those. So it's not just that at age 70. What I'm going to be talking to you about are strategies that you can use way before age 70 to help maybe reduce those required minimum distribution and thus reduce taxes at the same time, okay? So those are the strategies we'll talk about after the break. Join me here. We'll be right back on the Retirement Report.